Hi, I'm Phil Muncy, and it's my honor to introduce to you today Nick Jordan, who is the founder of Wells of Life. Nick, what an honor to talk with you.
Thank you.
What is Wells of Life?
Wells of Life is an organization that provides clean water to villages in East Africa.
Wow. And now, water is a major problem, isn't it, in the third world countries and particularly in Africa?
Well, water is one of the largest problems we face today, or I should say lack of water. We have 1.1 billion people that lack access to water.
Oh my goodness.
Every day of their lives.
And when you think about water, I love the story of the way the organization started. You were actually helping build schools when you realized that the very foundation of the need of these children in this nation is water. I think that's crucial because all of us are inundated with appeals for things that need to be solved, but water is crucial. What is the results of a lack of water to a community, to a village, to a nation? When they lack water, what happens?
Well, what happens is that they die. That's the simplest way to put it. Water is truly life. And so what happens is that there's a tremendous amount of disease, and typically there's death as a result.
And there's two kinds of issues with water. There is lack of water, and then there is dirty or unclean water. Both of these issues are compounding to affect a lot of people. What does Wells of Life do to resolve that problem?
Well, what we do is we find and we drill for water. We provide water wells in communities that have never had access to clean water for perhaps as much as 1,000 years. The minute we do that, we provide life, and we provide the opportunity to have a sustainable lifestyle. Because currently, women walk on average 3 miles each day to haul water. They carry a jar, a very large jar of water on their heads that weighs about 44 pounds.
Ironically, you talk about water, you actually, this touched a soft spot in you because actually growing up, what was the condition of your household as it relates to water?
Well, I grew up in a farmhouse that did not have running water. And my first memory as a 4.5-year-old boy was accompanying my mother to a water well and helping her haul water for the family.
So you know the pressure, the physical demand of doing that. And these wells, your information about your organization says that life for these villages and communities and for these children is 50 feet away. All we need is somebody to link up with what you're doing, and we can resolve this problem. You actually believe that this world crisis, which I understand could be nearly 2 billion if not resolved, can be resolved in 10 years or less. What is the cost of a well? How can you bring, and at what expense, this life to a village, to a community?
We have been able to bring the cost of a water well down to $4,000 per well. We do that because we own and operate our own drilling equipment. We train and have our own drilling crews. What the difference that actually makes is that it provides a platform to build an actual life on.
Well, I think that's amazing because it seems so within reach. One of the great things that Wells of Life does, and that is they actually, not only do they raise funds for the $4,000, but they actually have a program that unites corporate America and communities, church groups, neighborhoods, Little League softball teams, where people work together with the matching fund. You know, Nick, it just is overwhelming to me, and yet at the same time, really exciting that such a solution is within reach. $4,000, especially if you link up with the corporation, or if a corporation will link up with the community, that's within reach.
Well, the reason that we believe that the problem is solvable in such a relatively short space of time, a decade, is because of just that very idea, collaboration. We believe that everybody can play their part and do it by collaborating in small groups. A group of school children, for example, can very easily, and have done, raise the funds for a well. One beautiful story that I'd love to recount to you is a lady in Alicia Viejo decided to run a marathon in Huntington Beach, 26 plus miles, along with the help of her 4-year-old daughter, to raise funds for a well. And as a result of that, not only did that little girl understand the importance of filling the need, but she was able to tell her school friends about it. She's now actually famous in Uganda.
Wow.
It's called Cassie's Well, and the people at the community well, they sing her name, they know about her, and as a result, I believe it's one of the greatest forms of education, to educate ourselves about the need, to be able to practically fill the need. And if a person is willing to run a marathon and raise funds for a water well, how amazing is that, to inspire others to do something similar?
Absolutely. And one of the great things that Wells of Life does is, and that is that you actually allow these wells to be called or named after people. So this means this girl, or maybe a coach or a teacher, or someone that you love, maybe someone that's already passed on, someone that you want to identify forever, the opportunity to say you made a difference. I love that your organization does that. So if somebody wants to dedicate a well, what is that, how do you do that so that someone could actually either go there or have a sense in their conscience that they have made a lasting impact?
Well, the point is so important that I want to just expand on it just for a brief moment. First of all, the problem is so large. I really struggle with determining how we can possibly address a need of 1.1 billion people. And the answer that came to me was that we do it one well at a time.
Yeah.
And so as a result, a person's life can be honored, it can be lifted into a place of significance,
Yeah.
and it can be remembered forever. I mean, I consider it such a great living memorial to have your name on a water well, and to have people sing your name in Africa, and they'll sing your name because you provided life to their village, so their women do not have to walk miles each day.
Wow.
I mean, it becomes a collaboration that's a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
And we all join together as a world.
Yeah.
And I often like to think that any problem that has enough people working on it will eventually be solved.
Yeah.
This is one problem that affects everybody.
That's right.
And once we know about it, there's really nothing that can stop us solving it in 1 decade.
Absolutely. I think it's fantastic. You know the old adage where we say you can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, or give him a fishing pole. Well, this is providing a pond. I mean, this is providing water that so much can come out of this. Nick, I think it's a fantastic thing that you're doing. I know that you and I have talked about this, and we've talked about our own children, my grandchildren. When you think about your boys and you think about what these 1 billion people are facing, what goes through your mind that gives you the passion to keep building these wells?
Well, what goes through my mind is, first of all, the memory that I have of my trip in 2008, going from village to village, having little children run up and immediately reach out their hand, and they want to hold your hand, and you immediately feel that connection. All I could think of was my own 2 boys, Manus and Patrick, and how much they would have enjoyed being there. So what comes to my mind is children deserve clean water.
Yes.
They deserve the opportunity not to be sick every day. When I visited 12 schools, it was very apparent to me that many children were unable to attend. Many girls were unable to attend because they accompanied their mothers hauling water to the well. That thought was discussed amongst many people, and we found that unless clean water is available, you can never build a life that is going to break the cycle of poverty.
Absolutely.
And so I would say that lack of clean water really is the taproot
Absolutely.
of poverty and all suffering. And by slicing through that taproot,
Yeah.
you can build a wonderful world where we can be very proud of solving one of the biggest problems that face us today.
Absolutely. Look, out of all the needs that we all face and see, and we want to help, without a doubt, water is the basic right and need of every human being. We're 50 feet away from saving a village, a community, ultimately a nation. And for $4,000, whether it's the whole well or you agree with Wells of Life to say, let's collaborate, you can make a difference. Nick, I'm honored to be able to have presented to all of our friends that are watching what I believe is the basic need and a desperate need. And what I'm excited about is through Wells of Life, this problem can be resolved.
Indeed.